بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وبه نستعين على كل أمور الدنيا والدين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ونور قلوبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Begini kalau doa. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه في كل وقت بدا على نعم الله وفضله. اللهم آتنا من لدنك رحمة وعلمنا من لدنك علما. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نوينا تعلم وتعليم وتذكر وتذكير ونفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم، ودعاء إلى الهدى والهداية على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية من رحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني مشرق صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني مشرق صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك العلم لدني مشرق صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم ألهمنا علما نفقه به أوامرك ونواهيك وارزقنا فهما نعرف به كيف نناجيك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك فهم النبيين وحفظ المرسلين وإلهام الملائكة المقربين في عافية يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أغننا بالعلم وزينا بالحلم وأكرمنا بالتقوى وجملنا بالعافية يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم إنا نستودعك ما قرأناه وما نقرأه في هذا المجلس وقبله ما بعده، فاحفظه علينا حتى ترده إلينا وقت احتياجنا إليه يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أكرمنا بنور الفهم وأخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وافتح لنا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا حكمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم يا من مقاليد الأمور كلها بيده وإليه يرجع الأمر كله، يا فتاح يا عليم يا فتاح يا عليم يا فتاح يا عليم، افتح علينا فتحا قريبا. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وسدد لساني واهد قلبي وافعل كذلك بأحبابي أبدا، وارزقنا كمال فتوح العارفين والفقه في الدين مع كمال الإخلاص والصدق واليقين والعافية والغنى والنصر والحفظ والنفع والانتفاع وخير الدارين وعلوم الأولين والآخرين. آمين. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم، والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. Alhamdulillah. Continue with our lesson on Islamic Creed for beginners, and this is the book whereby we are doing the two main texts, right? That they do it here in Tariq, and also in most parts of the Islamic world they do Aqidul Awam. Right? So for Aqidul Mushmala, is something that is very specific for Hadramaut, right? That they do it here, right? And also in other parts of the world has taken on the tradition of Hadramaut. Right, and for the next one, the Awam, that there is something that is spread quite far, quite worldwide, all the way from Egypt to Syria to other parts of the world. They actually do this as a beginner's text. And at the back of the book, you will see that I will something about it, right, to show that this goes back to the traditional text of Islam. Inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Right, so the last lesson that we were going through, we went through up till page Alhamdulillah, we've done that one as well. Yeah, I think we are at page Bil Islami Dina. Alright, so we are at the part of Bil Islami Dina. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. قال المؤلف رحمه الله تعالى ونفعنا الله به وبعلومه في الدارين. As the writer here said, and may Allah has mercy on him, and may Allah benefit us by him and by his knowledge in both abodes. Where he has said, فَإِنَّ وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ قَدْ رَضِينَا بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا. And the previous lesson we went through the word فَإِنَّ, and we went through also وَالْحَمْدُ as well, and we went through the word قَدْ as an emphasis. And we went through the word رَضِينَا بِاللَّهِ رَبًّا, and we went into the entire usage of the Nun al-Jama'ah. And Nun al-Jama'ah is the Nun of togetherness. It's something that is followed by from the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. And there is a secret in using the Nun of Jama'ah. Instead of saying إِيَّاكَ أَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ أَسْتَعِينُ, and there will be I. Right, na'budu and nasta'in is a we. Right, and one of the secrets that I mentioned in his tafsir of Surah Fatiha, right, in using the Nun of Jama'ah, is because when you make a statement so large like that, it's a large statement, mashallah, that only you we worship and only you we seek help. It's a big statement, right, a big claim. Right, do you really? Do you really only worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or at the times whereby your nafs is priority over what Allah has said? At the times whereby money is priority over what Allah has said? At the times whereby jah or position is priority over what Allah has said? And so whenever you place something of what Allah has said, then that thing becomes a form of worship. And because what is worship except that it is obedience towards something and stay away from disobedience towards something. So many people worship money, right? Because they will do whatever it takes in obedience for money to come to them, right? It's obedience towards money, right? Many people, they obey their own nafs. They do whatever it takes for the nafs to be happy, right? Because what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, right? So so إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, only you and nothing else, right, that you worship. Subhanallah, it's a big statement. It's a big statement. Do you at all times in your day only Allah that you rely on, only Allah that you turn to, only Allah that you seek help? It's a big statement. وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, and only you and no one else we seek help from. Is a big statement, mashallah. So we say now, right, so in that direction we go under, right, the circle of people who are like that. The first and foremost our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he he only ever wished Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and nothing else, and he only ever asked help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and no one else. Right, so first and foremost, then the Sahaba, the righteous, the awliya, the ulama, all of them say إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. So we put ourselves in the circle. We kind of like ride on. So we kind of ride on their iman, on their mu'amalah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on their deeds of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ride on that. Right, so we don't make a statement that is not truthful. We say إِيَّاكَ أَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ أَسْتَعِينُ. That means I only worship you, I only seek your help. Right? Really? Right? How truthful is that statement? Right? So to not have it be a statement of a lie being there, or something of untruthfulness being there, we say nah. Right, nah. Right, so we go under the circle of the awliya, the ulama, right, and we count ourselves together, right, with all of them, inshallah, with the iratihim, in their circle, we count ourselves with them, inshallah. Right, so our deficiencies in that statement of na'budu wa nasta'in, right, is covered up by the by the perfection, and the perfection of worship and enslavement of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam foremost, then all of the awliya that come after him. The same thing with here, right? Radina billahi rabba, radina. So we bring ourselves under Imam al-Haddad. Right? So Imam al-Haddad, he radina billahi rabba, mashallah. He has full redha of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as his Lord, meaning full redha of Allah's decree, of Allah's accounting, of Allah's law subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes into radina bil Islam Medina, right? So the first one to say this statement is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because we learn from him. And you say radina rabba bi sabina Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Nabi wa Rasulah, every morning 3 times, every evening 3 times. It will protect their iman. It's part of our word al-latif. It's right there in the al-latif. I do it in the morning and in the evening. Right? So so we kind of bring ourselves under our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He has full redha. He. And for us, Allahu Alam, for me, right? And sometimes things happen to you in your life and you feel upset about it. You don't have a full redha immediately. But you have this, questioning, you might kind of, find your way around it, and that's so that there is a naqs, right? There is a deficiency there, right, in our redha. We have no 100% redha in everything. So we say radina. Right, so we kind of like, it's a collective word, right? So like for example, if I'm saying, are you all listening? You all, right? Are you all understanding? Are you all, obedient? So the answer will be collective, yes, right? But we say, are you one person? As a direct, are you listening? Are you, that's a heavier thing to say yes to. Right? Am I? No, mashallah. But are you all? Like a whole collective. Yes, we are. So we. No, mashallah. Right, so that is the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Habib mentioned, mashallah, with tafsir, His mercy that Allah says to us to say, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Even if you're praying by yourself, you still say, Iyaka na'budu. We, and there is the safety net of the we, mashallah. Then to say I, so have you prayed your prayer with khushu? You, one person, me, one person, me. Talking about me. You can't give me a straight yes. But the Muslims submit to Allah. The Muslims, yes, they do, right? Because there are those of them who do, and we all kind of go under them. And we kind of like, we teach right in all of them, mashallah. And it's all from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we don't make a false statement. It's not a false statement, right? But we kind of yandarij, and then you go underneath, right, the statements. It's a very beautiful point. I heard Umar once mentioned it. I was like, it's so beautiful. Because it is true, it's a big statement, right? Radina billahi rabba. Oh, ya Allah, ya Allah. Raditu billahi rabba. It's a big statement to say to yourself, about yourself, this claim, mashallah. So we went through that last week, and we are in Wabil Islami Dina. Anyone who doesn't have the book and you want to buy the book, you just tell me, okay? I brought 3 books. If anyone doesn't have the book and you want to buy the book. If anybody wants something also, if anybody is going back to the UK, if you can bring some books to the UK, because I have friends there who want the book. But if you can, I don't know if you have enough space in luggage space or whatever. I'm not going to put any lucky for you all. Right? But
Inshallah, time.
If because I have students in the UK under Ars Nabawi, I teach under that channel as well. They use this book and they can't buy the book from Singapore. I could ask the Singapore bookstore if they can ship over, and they asked, and the bookstore says no. So I'm like, I don't know how to get the books to the UK. Yeah, like, but I know it's heavy. Right, so I don't want to put any taklif on you all. I don't put any any.
Sorry, it's okay.
Yeah, okay. So I don't want to impose. No imposing anything, right? Because otherwise they just have to be redha with the PDF. Right, so they have the PDF. Right? But people like the book, right, in front of them. Right, so, but I don't know where in the UK they are. But I guess once you go to the UK, you can get them to pay for the postage, right?
Tell them to post in our address.
Yeah. If they really want it, mashallah. I don't know how else to get to the UK. I could give them the PDF and just print it there. If you know how to print it in the UK.
Yeah, you can print anywhere. Yeah, they can just print from the shop also.
And they can just do it.
Yeah.
But it won't be a book.
No.
It's just gonna be like a PDF.
Yeah.
Mashallah. Mashallah, they can do that as well. Okay, so so radina billahi rabban wa bil islami dina. Okay, so we are going today into the word Islam. Islamic dina, as mentioned, is called aqidatul mujmala. Mujmala, it is a general aqidah. It's an aqidah of Imam al-Haddad. The entire aqidah is found on one page, as we mentioned earlier. This whole page is the aqidah. It's one page. And I'm just going through word by word for us to understand this. And this Aqidatul Mushmala is a very beautiful opening into Aqidatul Awam. It's a very beautiful opening. And it opens up for you what is Islam, what is Rabb, and who is Rabb, what is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is, remember to bring the next time round, there is a manzuma, like a poem, like a poem on all of the meanings that the Rabb can carry. There is, but I didn't memorize it. But I've seen it in one of the sharah, of Tazkirah Hadramiyah is in the sharah of a poem, right? And I have had it on one of my slides. Because it's a very different of all the meanings that the word Rabb contains. Because the word Rabb is a very intimate word. So Rabb, and the Rabb, you know how when you love someone, very much, and you call that person your Habibi. Ya Habibi, Ya Habibati, oh my dear, my beloved, my darling, my sayang, whatever. This is kind of things people that you love, right? Rabb is a term we use as slaves of endearment to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you find all prophets, when they make their du'as, they go, Ya Rabb, right? They don't go, Ya Allah. They go, Ya Rabb, Ya Rabb. Right? And that is calling out to someone who is beloved, but in a way that is becoming to the Creator subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you go Ya Habibi Ya Rasulullah, right? Very rare you say Ya Habibi Ya Allah. I mean, let's say you can, but you use it for people. I mean, Ya Habibi Ya Rasulullah, Ya Habibi, oh my beloved. But for Allah, Ya Rabb. Ya Rabb is zawqi. It's something that is in the tasting of it, and it brings you close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Radina billahi rabba. So what is Rabb? Isnada, one that you lean on. What is Rabb? Sami' li du'ai, the one who hears my dua. What is Rabb? Al-mujib ad-da'wa, ila da'an, the one who answers your dua, so you answer him. What is Rabb? Al-Malik, the king. What is Rabb? Al-Murabbi, the one who nurtures you. It's all from the poem that is there on the meanings of Rabb. Inshallah, next year I'll bring the poem down. Right, so you can memorize. I've been wanting to memorize the poem, right, but I have not. It's a few lines, but I just don't memorize it, mashallah. But it has all of the.
The sharh by Salih Matran, or
I think so. It's sharah of the Hadramiyah. It's a thick green book, very thick. It's heavy, and but it's in there. It's in there. When he goes to the word Rabb, he does a full sharah and the manzuma of Rabb. Inside there, I have taught it in one of my long ago classes in Singapore. So and one of my students made it into a PDF, made it into a slides, right, to share easily on WhatsApp, right. So I corrected some of the harakat, then I don't know where it went. So I'll try and get from her, because actually she when I did it, she put the manzuma down into like an image, right, and then she put the translation beneath it. So it could be, it's somewhere on my Facebook, I don't know, but years ago I did it. I'll find it. I'll read it here, inshallah. Right, وَرَضِينَا بِالْإِسْلَامِ دِينًا. So Islam, right? Islam from the word aslama yuslimu islaman. Right, so Islam is from the word submission, to submit. Now, of course, there is a root word of salam, which means peace, but it's on a form that means to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And so when we say, nahnu min al-muslimin, we are of the Muslims, right? Because we have submitted our intellect, we have submitted our lives, our choices, our entire way of life, right? To whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us to do, whatever is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a true Muslim is in full submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with no questions asked. So Allah says, do something, don't do something else. Submit. Radina billahi rabba wa bil islami dina. And there is a hadith by Rasulullah said that of the meaning whereby if shaitan comes to a person and whispers to a person to make them doubt this religion, straight away say, Amantu billah, raditu billahi rabba wa bil islami dina wa bi sayyidina Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wa rasulah. Should we say that? To fight the whispers of shaitan coming to you, and shaitan will come in from the door of whispers to make you doubt in the sharia. Because the Sharia is difficult on the nafs. It is. Right? And Rasul said in the hadith that none of you truly believe, meaning that none of you have reached the fullness of Iman until his hawa, right? Until his desires is in line bimajid to be. Is in line of following whatever I have come with. Which means that by default, by natural state, most human beings are not in line. Most human beings, we're getting there, inshallah. We're struggling. So which means that the Sharia will go against our nafs. It will. Because the nafs is lazy, the nafs is tired, the nafs is greedy, the nafs is selfish, the nafs is, so when the Sharia comes, the Sharia shapes the nafs beats the nafs into shape, basically, like the Sharia, mashallah. So when you follow the Sharia, there is a mujahada. You will struggle. So when people say, the laws of Islam are difficult, yeah, it's meant to be in the beginning. In the beginning, you can find that it's difficult, but if you get yourself used to it, it's very easy. Islam is very easy, mashallah. The minimum of Islam, mashallah, is very easy, inshallah. Right? But you gotta get used to it. I said, someone says it's so hard to pray 5 times a day, and then I'm talking about things that's real back home. Here in Tarim, inshallah, no one says that, inshallah. So hard to pray 5 times a day. No, you're in Tarim, come on. You should be saying, so hard to pray all of the sunnahs that the Hababa say. We just had just now in our previous class about 100 raka'ats on the night of the Nisfu Sha'ban. They were saying about it, right? Whereby, not just 100 raka'ats, but 100 ikhlas. 10 raka'ats in the night of the Nisfu Sha'ban. Each raka'at, you do 100 ikhlas. It comes up to be 1,000 ikhlas in the night of the Nisfu Sha'ban. Okay, then you can say, yeah, that's hard. Mashallah. But people of Tarim do it. They do it. Sitting, oh, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. Okay, let's do it. Can we do it tonight? I can't pray. Right, but I'm just saying it because I got the knowledge, so now I pass the knowledge on. I can't do it. Right, but if any of you here wants to do it tonight, 10 raka'ats, 100 ikhlas per raka'at, it's not mustahil. It's not impossible. So in Tarim, we're in a different world. I hope you all know by now. It's a different world here. It's unheard of. Anyone saying 5 prayers are difficult. Unheard of. They are talking about, al-awabin. And awabin, not just 6 rak'ahs, but they're doing a full hizb, of the Quran. Awabin, they're not talking about, a full khatam, or sometimes a few juz. I don't know. Right, so for them, it's not like, subuh, zuhur, asr, maghrib, isha. No. Right, but it's like, there was once I was in Singapore and someone asked, I was doing a class on Ramadan. And I was emphasizing all the hadith on witr, the prayer of witr. So someone asked me, is it better for us to pray the 11 witr and pray less tarawih? Maybe it's not 20, but maybe 8. Or should we do 20 tarawih and then 3 witr? The answer from Tarim, 20 tarawih and 11 witr. So it's an end. Inshallah. So I remember the question, she was like, it threw me off. I said, what? So yeah, 20 and 3, is it better than 11 and 11? Or 8 tarawih and then 11 witr, which is better, right? It's an extreme question. Never thought about it. But the answer is 20 and 11. That's the best. You do it that way. Like in Tarim, they do it that way. By the way, in Tarim, no such thing as 8 witr here. 3 witr here, no such thing. Okay, no such thing as 8 tarawih in Tarim. In Malaysia, in Singapore, oh, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. In Egypt, mashallah. You come to a masjid, at 8 raka'ahs, I think 3/4 of the masjid gone. Only one, in Singapore, 1 or 2 staff left to finish 20. In Tarim, mustahil doing 8. Unheard of. Mashallah. They are different people now, mashallah, mashallah. So for them, 20 is the minimum. They do 20, 40, 60, 80. They do a few tarawihs in Ramadan. Tarawih Darul Mustafa, and tarawih at Masjid Ba'alawi, and tarawih at Masjid Segaf, and tarawih. They go to different massages and do sets of 20. Ya Allah, people of Tarim and their ibadah, their ahl ibadah, really, their ahl ibadah. Their ibadah is beyond what anywhere in the world will speak about. Subhanallah. So anyway, if I'm saying, so when I talk about this, I'm talking about our context in our country. Alright? So in our country, we have people saying it's so hard to put on the hijab, it's so hard to pray 5 times a day, fasting Ramadan is so hard, you know, keeping to the halal is so hard. You know, mashallah, may Allah give them strength and give them easy for them. Right? But you say, you know, as hard as it is, initially it will be hard. Right? Because the Sharia naturally does not go in line with your nafs. And the dalil for that is the hadith of Rasulullah SAW, whereby you have not truly believed. It means a full iman until your hawa or your desires comes in line with what I have come with. There's a dalil right there. So which means naturally from birth, our hawa, you know, our desires are not in line with the Sharia. And we can see in our children, right? So maybe when they're small, they'll copy you in praying, right? You wait until you reach 8 or 9 years old, right? So at 3 or 4, they'll copy you. 9, 10, you'll find the laziness to set in, delaying the prayer, want to play first, you know, things will happen at this age group. A lot of parents will say to me, when he was 3 and 4, when I, you know, pray, he will come and sit next to me. Yes, easy for him is 3 and 4. But when there's 5, when there's 7, 8, 9, they have more activities to distract them from the prayer. And that's the age when they're supposed to pray. You know, inshallah. Then it'll be a fight. It'll be a fight. Like, pray now. Don't delay your prayers. Come on, Jama'ah, masjid. And if you have boys, say, go to the masjid. Masjid. Pray here, lah. Pray here. You know, inshallah. Right? So, the nafs is natural. And also, like, for example, some parents, they get worried when their kids begin lying. Lying is a natural self-defense of the nafs. When someone does something wrong, what's the best way out? Deny it happened, right? That's the best way out, right? Didn't happen. I didn't do it, not me, right? So when they begin lying, it's actually a very natural, but wrong. Even though it's natural, it's wrong, right? Natural way of flying, of fleeing from responsibility of wrong actions. So it's very natural for children to lie. So when did he learn how to lie? Shaitan. Well, sorry. Shaitan is right there. He's whispering. And it's the easiest thing to do. To deny you did it. Right? So don't be shocked. But know it's natural. Then now comes the irshad or the guidance of the Sharia. The Sharia comes in. And the Sharia puts you into shape. You know, mashallah. In Recibian, in the book on nurturing children, right? At the age of 2, at the age of 2, you begin to wean off your child. Right? It says that now he'll begin to yashtahi, and he'll begin to desire. So he said, throw onto him the lijam of the sunnah. That means throw onto him the muzzle or the ropes, you know, or the chains of the sunnah. Don't leave him to do whatever they do because the nafs is very strong. So at 3 years old, they stop drinking milk, right? The nafs is very strong. Right, so the nafs wants to eat and puts in the mouth like that, right? With any hand and at all times, right? So now the sunnah comes in. Wait, go and wash your hands first. Wait, right? Wait for everybody to come and sit down. Wait, you know, dua first. Right, so the sunnah puts a training on the nafs, mashallah, and the sharia does the same thing as well. Right, so so we say, Radina bil Islami dinan. Right, it is a struggle. There will be a struggle for the natural human being, unless you're a wali, right? You're a wali. For the awliya, there is wahabi. There are wahabi. This awliya whereby Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them their wilayah. Is given from a point of birth. They are given wilayah. MashaAllah. Then one of the awliya, his name is Allahumma salli Muhammad. The one whereby his uncle taught him say Allahu Shahidi, Allahu Naziri, Allahu his name, I forgot his, I just read his story in my book. I forgot his name now. I forgot his name. But basically she said his story goes at 3 years old. Which of our children at 3 years old wakes up and joins his uncle in tahajjud. Which of our kids do that? So Wali Wahabi. He's a Wali. Because he told us story at 3 years old. He used to wake up in the night and be with his uncle while the uncle prays the Hajj.
And then, Wahabi, not I thought you were saying Wahabi. I was like Wahabi.
No,
How
Wahabi. Not Wahabi, okay? Wahabi. There are awliya Kasbi and there's awliya Wahabi. Right? Wahabi means Allah gives. From the word Allah al-Wahhab, Allah is Allah's name, Allah al-Wahhab. It's so that their wilayah of the awliya that is Wahabi. Right? Nubuwah is all Wahabi. And not Wahabi, Wahabi. Nubuwah, like prophethood. It's all Wahabi. Allah gives it. It can't be Kasbi. Kasbi means you earn it. Right? But so you can't earn to be a Nabi. And that's not possible. But you're given Nubuwah. I mean the Anbiya. For wilayah, for being a wali, there are 2 ways. It can be Wahabi, given. So you have people like Shaykh bin Salim, you have people like, Imam al-Haddad, who at 8 years old prays 200 raka'ats in the masjid. Wali! It has to be a wali, khalas. Right? So Imam al-Haddad, his wilayah is given. Of course, he earned it as well to rise in levels. But the initial wilayah was given to this kind of imams. Right? But there are of the imams whereby it is kasbi. Right? Like Sheikh Haban. Like he's Kasbi, because he was under his wife and his wife was doing things to him and it made him rise in his levels. So he earned it, right, by the kind of difficulty his wife used to make him go through. You want to come in? You're so far out. Or you all can move here. Oh, inshallah. So anyway, I was saying, okay, so with regards to the Sharia, so we say Raditu bil Islami dinan, right? It is natural that the Sharia is difficult on the nafs. It's natural, right? So we say Radina billahi dinan, right? So Radina bil Islami dinan, right? That you are getting yourself to be okay and in fact pleased and in fact appreciative and loving the Sharia, because it's all levels. So first level is obedience. So even though so you accept that it is a law from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, na'am, it's a law, you accept it. Okay, you accept it. Right? And then, as I mentioned, I think one of the classes previously, but there are laws in Islam that is difficult on our nafs. It is difficult. Some laws in Islam. Right? And for some women, they find that the hijab is difficult. They don't like it. I know, I read one article before about this convert, whereby she said that, she puts on the hijab every day, fighting her nafs. And for her, ajr wa thawab, she has reward. But she fights her nafs. She does not like the hijab. Doesn't like it. And she says she reads all the articles about people who love the hijab and they feel so refreshed and so free when they wear the hijab and so protected and so on. MashaAllah, inshallah, a lot of us feel that way about the hijab, about the niqab. You feel so much freedom with it. But there are people who don't like it. It's against their nafs. But they fight their nafs. The nafs does not like this thing on their head. It doesn't like it. I know of converts who don't like it at all. Like it's not a matter of Sharia, not Sharia, but it's a matter of it's so uncomfortable, it's so hot, it's so troublesome, it's so and so on and so forth. But they fight their nafs, right? And they force themselves on it. Why? Because Allah says wajib. Wajib. The Quran is wajib. They do it. They get reward? Yes, reward. So sometimes you don't know of the religion, what we find easy, others find very difficult. And what we find difficult in the religion, others find easy. Subhanallah. So something like for me personally, having the entire part of the religion of having many wives. So some people, they find it easy, they're hukum. People here especially, Pentarim. Right? They find it easy, adi, normal, it's normal. Right? To have many wives, it's normal. But in our culture, say, wait, what? If my husband comes to me and asks me the kind of question, I will have to fight my nafs so much. I think a lot of us in our own cultures, we have to fight our nafs so much. Right? But we know it's Sharia. The Sharia has allowed for it. But our nafs is just like, I can't take it, mashallah. But then on the other end, the Sharia tells you, but it's halal, it's allowed. Same thing like cutting people off. The nafs might want to cut people off, especially they betray you, they hurt your families, they slander you. The nafs wants you to cut them off because they've hurt your family in that way, especially if it's your parents. Or if someone has hurt your parents, I've gone through this before. If they've hurt your parents and they slander your parents, you will feel like you don't want to ever speak to that individual ever again. But the Sharia calls for something else. Right? Sharia. The Sharia calls for a higher level of morality, a higher level of ihsan. Right? They do such Sayyidina Abu Bakr. Right? His own relatives slander his own daughter. Not his own daughter, but the Prophet as well. Because to say that someone's wife is unfaithful is to also attack the marriage that's there. So the ones who were slandering Sayyidina Aisha, they were attacking Sayyidina Aisha and attacking the marriage of Rasulullah as if he can't keep his wife. There are two attacks here. Because a man, when the wife goes astray, then becomes, on the man, you can't keep your wife, and she goes astray, she goes to other men. So that the slander was shadid. It was ugly, the slander, and it hurt Sayyidina Abu Bakr, because his daughter and the Prophet, who is his best friend and the most beloved individual to him. But even then, the Sharia called him to do it. And all he was doing was to stop a ma'ruf. It means an extra act of obedience. It's not even wajib. It's not even wajib. It's extra sidaqah he was giving to his cousin, his relative, who was one of those who was spreading the slander of Sayyidina Aisha. And he just said, I am not giving him ever again, out of sadness and hurt. Even then, right? Allah sent the ayat down. The Sharia calls you to what is higher. Forgive him. MashaAllah. This is where the Sharia goes against our nafs. The nafs does not want to talk to her. Does not want to speak to her. The nafs does not want to, have anything to do with this person. The nafs is very angry. The nafs. But the Sharia says, this individual says, La ilaha illallah. You have a duty to be good to her. You can't harbor, in fact, as you go higher, you can't even harbor negativity in your heart. You can't even do that. See, but I'm okay if I'm not hurting her. Okay, that's the minimum, right? But as long as you harbor some resentment, some grudge, some whatever, right? The Sharia calls you to higher than that. So we are ready to be the Islami Dinan, right? So, mashallah, it's a big statement. Radina bil Islami Dinan. Are we okay, mashallah, with what the Sharia calls us to? Right, so we see this statement, yes, we are pleased. So the first level of redha is that I accept that it is the truth. I accept it is correct. I accept it's the truth. Second level is I act upon it. Third level is I am happy acting upon it. Because you could act upon it but not happy acting upon it, mashallah. So you could accept that I have to forgive her because Sharia says so. Right? Sharia says I must forgive those who ask for forgiveness. I must forgive. And even I forgive them. But you could be doing it, grudgingly, unhappily, Or, okay, a very, very clear example, obedience to the husband. Okay, so it could be that, he said not to go out, he said not going out. And you know that the Sharia says obedience to husband, obedience to husband. But there's this thing in your heart. I obey him. Sharia says so. Okay, I'm not gonna go out. Then you sit there and you're sulking away. Not gonna go out. Say I can't go out. You sit here. And they sulk the entire time. Be happy about it. Right, so mashallah. Right, so that's the way it is. That's the way it is. It begins with first acceptance. It is correct. The Sharia. And then applying it means obeying it, right? and then coming to being happy obeying. Being happy to obey, and the highest level, right? It is to completely like have your entire nafs. You're seeking the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The nafs seeks. So Sharia covers wajib, it covers sunnah as well. So like the righteous or the awliya, right, who did not eat watermelon, they are on the height of radina bil Islami dinan. Because now, not just doing things the Sharia has commanded to do, but they will only do what the Sharia says. So if they have no idea how a watermelon is eaten by the Prophet ﷺ, they don't know the sunnah of eating a watermelon, they will not eat the watermelon until they find the sunnah of how to eat a watermelon. So they know some eat watermelon, but they don't know how. Either eat it with the skin on, skin off, they cut it off. But I did it somewhere before in one of the Shama'il classes, but he would eat from the right to the middle, then he would turn it, so it's on a curve, from the right to the middle, then he would turn it, then even the right to the middle. So I've learned before. I don't know if anyone of you has ever heard this before. You heard it before? I heard it a long time ago when I was learning years ago, Shama'il. So they mentioned about how he would eat the watermelon from the right to the center, then right to the center. Actually, who would have figured it out? Mashallah, you like either you eat it or you cut it, right? He's like right to center, right to center. No, mashallah. If it's correct. Okay, this is what I remember from my long ago last lessons, of how to eat the watermelon in the way of the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mashallah. But I can find the nas, where is the proof, of this text. Now, so Radina bil Islami dinan. So we are content with Islam as our religion. So from what is wajib, right? So the levels there, again, the levels will be first acceptance that it is a commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there are people who struggle with just that. They're struggling that the hijab is a commandment. They are struggling that obedience to husband is a commandment. Or in our time, this is a big struggle. And in fact, there are many women out there, even amongst the ustazat, who will say it is not compulsory, obedience to the husband. Or you can find so many hadiths, right, that speak about women who are not obedient to their husbands on wherever there's still disobedience to the religion, to Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But there are a lot of hadiths, mashallah. And tarif is so abhorrent for anyone to even think of disobedience to the parents or to the husband. So acceptance. Even things like Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Even I was going through before this on one of the fiqh issues in regards to the nullifying of wudu, right? And that there is a definition in the Shafi'i mazhab about the kabir. Who is the kabir and what is kabir? Right? Someone who is kabir is not necessarily baligh. Right? The baligh is different, the kabir is different. Right? So for example, a girl who is at the age of 9, 10 years old, she is kabira. She is kabira. She is a big girl. Is it really a big girl? Right? Is she baligha? Might not be. Right? So can she go around salaming or touching the hands of men who are not her mahram? Answer is no. Because the wudu will nullify. Because it's kabirin. It's kabirin. And in fact, as women, if you are in the presence of boys who are kabir, right? So the boys, they are not baligh, right? But they are 10 years old, 11, 12, right? But not baligh. They are of that age. And they are not your mahram. You should cover your aura. But al-awra mihna. In a sense whereby the aura, whereby you don't have to wear socks, kind of thing. You can just basically cover your aura. Don't wear short sleeves. Don't wear don't show your hair. Because they are kabir. Yafham awrat nisa. They understand the aura of the nisa. This is actually a hukum in our religion. People don't know about it. It's not about them being baligh. It's about them being kabir. So our mother should always mention about this. About intabihu. Even that day we were going around to visit all the hababas, right? Anissa, her son, you've seen her son, right? He's what, 6? 5 or 6, right? So the Hababa is just around him. He's 5 or 6, 5 or 6. And they do this, or they put a cloth, if you want to surround them, put a cloth. Subhanallah. Because they understand Kabir. Wa Kabir. He's Kabir. Like he's 6. They count it as, I know amongst the ulama who 5 years old is the mark. For me, like when I teach in Singapore, it's so hard to even convince people it's not baligh, it's kabir, right? So when I say, if I say 5, they're like, you're being too strict about 5 years old. Okay, 7, still too strict. Okay, 9, put 9 as the age, because 9 it could be they are baligh, not anybody, especially boys. If boys are baligh by 10. Do you think they're gonna go around telling you that they are baligh? For all you know, they are baligh, and you're there, your hair is showing and whatsoever, right? And they are baligh. It's possible. Right? So in Tarim, right, they go by 5 or 7. Let's say by 7. Right, latest is a 9, the 9-year-old. Okay, this is a part of Sharia that so many people cannot accept. In Singapore, I don't know about your countries, but in Singapore, when I say, hey, the boys around, he's 11 years old. He's not baligh. I said, yeah, but he's 11. Why your hijab? And it's not baligh. Mashallah. So there is Adam al-Qabul. They can't accept that the religion speaks about Kabir and not baligh. Or like say when I teach in masjids, and I teach primary 1, primary 2, 7, 8-year-olds. Right, so whenever I teach the boys, the girls, the boys are so careless about their, they take my book, they touch my hand. Astaghfirullah, let's see my wudu. Shafi. Right, so the boys are 7 and 8. Right, I say, okay, boys, don't touch Ustazah. Okay? Please, right? Take the carefully. I have wudu. Okay, I have wudu. Mashallah. So in the Shafi mazhab, it does for your wudu, It does. As you go and take wudu again. But it's so hard for people to accept it. How can you say 8-year-old, my cousin or my nephew is mahram, or my husband's nephew, how can you say that breaks my wudu? Oh, it does.
It will be very hard when we go back.
To say that, right? To say, don't salam me, you are kabir. Or I have had people say, you're too strict.
Not only kabir, my husband. Yeah, like they all.
Yeah, it's not mahram, right?
And
Abba Salma al-Mashhur, she mentioned to us that Habib Alawi bin Shihab, back in the day when she was 8 years old or 7 years old, they would see him come down from his house to go to the masjid. He has wudu, and the girls in the age of 7, 8, and 9, they will run to him to salam him. But because he holds on, it's a hukum. They are kabira. They're all kabir. Right, he would give them his elbow, and they would kiss the elbow. They would touch the elbow and kiss the elbow, and so his wudu is protected, and he guards over their feelings. Because he ran all the way to salam him, right? And he's like, I have wudu. Mashallah. For us, this woman, we have wudu. And I've seen how Abbas do this. They put under a cloth, and then let the boys salam them. It's small boy only, right? But it's still the law that is there. So anyway, raditu billahi bil Islami dinan. Right, so these are all examples in different mazhabs, I guess. But basically, what is the ruling? Do you have a first level of acceptance? There's a first minimum level of radina is acceptance, al-qabul. That it is our religion, it is haram, it is halal, it is, sunnah, it is our religion. Right, and then comes the level of implementation. Right, so there is amal. Right, then comes the level of loving to act on it. And then comes the level of acting only by it. So you don't do anything in your day except that is something that is commanded by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So it's not just something that is permissible, but something that is called, your entire day is either sunnah or wajib, sunnah or wajib, sunnah or wajib, mashallah. And that is why the wali is called the wali, because they say that, yatawala bil, mutawali bil amal salihah. And the wali is someone who is continuous on his good deeds. Itulah wali. Mashallah, is a wali. Mashallah. And so, raditu billahi bil islami dinan. Naam. Now let me just continue. Right, so Islam means submission, to submit, to tie oneself to the secret rulings of Sharia that Rasulullah has brought to us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Laws of Islam overtakes all other revealed laws before it, and on the day of judgment, no other religion is accepted other than Islam. Right? So deen means a belief system or a way of life a person holds on to. And that is why the highest level of radina, which is your entire life is Islam. Your whole life. You wake up in the morning, it's the du'as that you say. Right? The ayat of Ali Imran that you recite. Then you go and you perform your wudu. You do a istinja or you take a bath, sunnah. Sunnah to take a cold bath before Fajr. The sunnah, mashallah. I'm still struggling with that one. So I tell you all the sunnahs, I'm like getting there, inshallah. For myself, ya Allah. It's a sunnah, take a cold bath before Fajr. Alhamdulillah. Let's try it. Okay, so I forced trying to force myself. Now it's like a very fast bath. So cold, mashallah. When my mother, since I was young, she heard the sunnah and she applied it. My mom, immediately. And I said, how in the world do you do a cold bath before Fajr? So cold. And even when you go to winter places, she will still do the cold bath, right, before Fajr. And now science has caught on to the sunnah. Science will always catch up to the sunnah. And science says that a cold bath before Fajr makes your body strong, right? And it prevents the collection of fat on the body. Oh, mashallah. That's a hack. Right, so it's so hard, ya Allah, so hard to do a cold bath.
Anti-aging.
It's anti-aging. It makes your skin firm. So now all the science comes in. Like, you shouldn't beat it, must hear the science, then you're gonna do it, right? You hear the sunnah, you should do it. Or the science anti-aging? Oh. Mashallah. But Allah knows, mashallah, that the sunnah is khair kulli, khair. Right, so right, so the way of life, right? So Islam is your deen. So why do you wake up and at this hour in the morning? Islam. Why do you read all these du'as and awrat? Islam. Right? Why do you take this cold bath at this early hour in the morning? Sunnah. Islam. Right? And then why do you burn the bukhur, right, in the morning? Bring in the angels. Islam. Right? Why do you put atar? Islam. Right? Why do you at every single part of your day till you sleep in the night? How do you sleep? What do you read? How do you face? Your whole day, every minute revolves around Islam. That's the highest part of radina billahi, radina bil Islami dina. Your whole day. And that also will eliminate things in your day that has no place in Islam. Right? So any form of entertainment, right, that word that goes against Islam, how does this fit in me following the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So watching all kinds of movies or doing all kinds of I don't know, TikTok, whatever. Talking about toilet at home, right? Or I hope not here. Here, alhamdulillah, our slow internet is a himaya. Mashallah. The slow internet here is a protection. We don't do anything online. So it's too slow. Mashallah. In Singapore, it's so fast. The fast internet in the world in Singapore. It's not boastful. It's a musibah. It's a calamity. We have the fast internet in the world in Singapore. I just heard about it. There is a fast internet in the world. And because of that, it's so fast. People doing all kinds of maksiyah. Sin after sin after sin after sin after sin on the internet. So I think, Tari, may Allah keep our internet slow. Because you get so frustrated. Nothing's loading. Alas, go to a masjid, go to the Zahra, go on the radio. Depend on FM and not on wireless. FM. Mashallah. Alhamdulillah. Right, that is our deen. Our entire life revolves around the religion. Wabil Islam Medina, so content Islam as religion. There is no other way except the way of Islam in life. Right? There's no other happiness, there is no other success, and our aqidah, our yaqeen is here. Right? There is no happiness except for following the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If anyone says to you this self-help book or this way of meditation or this way of yoga whatsoever, all of this, the good of it that's in it, it could be good in it. All the good of it is already in our deen. It's perfect. Islam is perfect. So what they can tell you that is good in yoga for you, right? In the way of the sunnah, it's already there. I mean, mashallah, in fact, in yoga, be warned. Be warned about yoga, because its origins, right? There's a form of shirk, right, in its origins. So even if Muslims perform it, right, without the shirk elements, the movements of it affect your soul, and it's not based on the sunnah. So there can be a negative effect on your spirituality as a Muslim. So the scholars do warn us about this, warn you. Right? So if you really want to stretch your body out, just stretch your body out. Do a proper ruku. Do the full sunnah ruku, you are stretched out. Mashallah. So if you do that full 90-degree ruku, your back is stretched out. And some awliya, tonight is night of ruku, and they ruku the whole night. If you do that, mashallah, if you do all your sunnah raka'at, you hold your ruku, you do such tasbih, for example, every single day. So tasbih will hold your ruku for a long time. Ruku. Well, I was once in Syria, in Sham, and the night of the Qadr was 27th of Ramadan, and it was that the Qadr that particular year, Sheikh Rajab, right, from Sham. Oh, I joined his tasbih. His tasbih, it goes Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah. So the whole prayer, can you imagine? The whole prayer, you're going to do 10 of the buckets of the hat standing. Oh, the ruku was so hard. And I saw all the old Shami ladies, all the old Syrian ladies in their ruku', Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha, and they do it 10 times. You are like, my back, Ya Allah. And all the old ladies were all in ruku' for a good half hour. For a good half hour in ruku'. Mashallah. Nice, Alhamdulillah. We go so fast. Ruku', send. Mashallah. But it was my one experience, but it was so slow. I think the entire tasbih 4 rakats took them about 2 hours or 3 hours to finish 4 rakats. It took up the entire time of the night prayer. This 4 rakats. It was an experience. It was very difficult. So you stay in sujood because the imam will read out loudly. So everybody is forced to follow him. So the Sheikh Rajab goes Subhanallah, walhamdulillah.
What's his name?
Sheikh Rajab. Yeah, he's still alive. Yeah, mashallah. He was the Sheikh at the Ma'had. Yeah, but I still remember the night was so long. The longest 4 rakats I've ever prayed in my life. Mashallah. But in a sense, if you practice this religion properly, your body will be healthy. So you don't have to go to any other, influences, right, to keep your body healthy. But the things that we don't actually practice correctly, mashallah, Allah help us. Now, hence it is not befitting to choose any other religion except Islam and delight over it, or to exalt its sanctity and sacred laws. So to delight over Islam and to exalt the Sharia. I think it was, when was it? I was hearing on the radio. It was Habib. Right, but basically about saying that a ghira. No, it was yesterday, not Habib. The Sheikh that takes over Habib. I don't know who he is, but he does the book of Habib Abdullah bin Tahir. Majmua. What's Habib's name?
I don't know.
But it's him, right? Yeah. Whenever in the morning class, right? If Habib was not there, this particular guy. What's his name?
He's a son.
Yeah, and he is the takeover for Habib Omar. Mm-hmm. So he's mashallah. But my husband was saying to me that whenever Habib's not there, everyone goes away. Then he's there in one row of people. Miskin, mashallah. When they miskin, he's teaching. So yesterday he said that it is a musibah in our time that people have no more ghira over the Sharia. So in the sense that in the past they used to be upset when the Sharia is not obeyed. There's a ghira of the Sharia. That means you want to raise Sharia. In our time, people are they don't care. They just go along their lives, don't care. Right, whether it's being acted upon, not acted upon, right? They couldn't care less. And so that is an indifference to the obedience of Sharia in society. So that is a flaw. So here he says, right, to delight over the Sharia and exalt it. Exalt the Sharia and sanctify it and institute laws. So for example, if you see someone who is obedient to the Sharia more than you should have a ta'zim in your heart that MashaAllah, she's doing so much more than me. The Sharia is apparent and manifest, zahir, on her. So even to feel the happiness of that is ibadah. That is ibadah and that is from aqidah. So you see the awliya. That's why they say the ta'zim of sha'airillah. Right? When you azim sha'airillah. And whoever aggrandizes the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you see the habaib. And that is the sir or the secret in the man who came to Rasulullah. He said, Ya Rasulullah, a person loves a people and وَلَا يَحِقْ بِهِمْ, and he does not, match them in their deeds. In the sense, there is no, and he's talking about himself actually, and talking about himself to the Sahaba and Rasulullah. So he comes, a person loves a people, meaning I love you all, and I don't match you guys. MashaAllah, I'm where and you are where you are. MashaAllah. And then came down the hadith, right, of a man is with whomsoever he loves. And so comes the rahmah in our religion, that just to exalt what is Islam, to exalt, even if you don't do it. MashaAllah. There was a story, and it is a story of a man, right, whereby he will live in the time of Shaykh Abdul Jalani, right, and Shaykh Abdul Jalani is one of the biggest awliya, in fact of the first and foremost awliya in Islam. Shaykh Abdul Qadir al-Jalani. So my tongue is still sucking. So there was once this man, he passed away, and he's known to be a drunkard, he's a sinner, he's a whatever, right? So he passed away. So the people said that nobody wants to pray upon him, nobody wants to make dua for him, khalas, right? And he's min al-mu'azzabin, right? He's of those who are punished. So she should, and they could not, and in fact, if the story goes, they could not actually bury him because so much sin on this person, the earth was throwing him out. Right? So they called Shaykh Jalani. Right? So Shaykh Jalani came and he asked about this man. Then the Shaykh said, okay, has the man ever come to any one of our majalis? Has he ever? And he said, no. He's a sinner. He has never come to a single one of your majlis, ya Shaykh. And the Shaykh said, do you know anything that is of goodness that he has ever done? That I can tawassul with it. I must tawassul. Right? So the Shaykh, never. Nothing of goodness. Then one person said, but Shaykh, there was a moment I was near him and I saw him go past your majlis. He was walking past your majlis. And he looked at you all from afar and he said, MashaAllah, in admiration. MashaAllah, people of Allah. And he went on his sin. And then she said, okay, enough. His admiration of righteousness was enough to use as a tawassul to get Allah to forgive him. MashaAllah. Right? Just to admire goodness. Just to do that. MashaAllah, is enough. MashaAllah. So MashaAllah, Islam is a wide religion. Inshallah, we go back home to our countries. I bring what is yasiru wala tu'asiru, bashiru wala tunafiru. I bring what is easy, don't bring what is hard, and give glad tidings and don't chase people away. Any questions? وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. أن الله يرزقنا منافع وأعمال الرحيم علينا المشركين ويزيد علينا إلى حاصل الفاتحة.